Welcome back to United HQ Update, your ultimate destination for all things Manchester United. I'm your host, and boy, do we have some massive stories brewing at Old Trafford that you absolutely cannot miss. First up, the striker saga that's got every United fan on the edge of their seats. Victor Osimhen's name is lighting up the transfer wires, and let me tell you, this Nigerian goal machine is exactly what we've been crying out for. We're talking about a striker who banged in 36 goals in 40 games for Galatasaray. That's almost a goal per game, folks. But here's where it gets really interesting. Napoli want Rasmus Højlund plus £33.6 million, or we could trigger that £63 million release clause. The question is, are we ready to make that statement signing? And with Chelsea breathing down our necks and Saudi Arabia waving their unlimited cash, time is running out fast. But wait, there's more. Hold on to your scarves because we've got a transfer bombshell that nobody saw coming. Marcus Rashford to Barcelona? Oh yes, it's getting real, and according to the latest reports, his agent was spotted meeting with Barca's sporting director Deco in Spain. Here's the kicker though, Barcelona can't afford the £40 million we're asking for, so they're proposing something absolutely mind-blowing, a swap deal involving not one, but two of their stars. We're talking about Ronald Araujo, the Uruguayan centre-back we've been chasing forever, and rising Spanish midfielder Fermín López. Could we really be about to lose our homegrown hero for two Barcelona talents? The football world is watching, and this could define our entire summer. And speaking of defining moments, we need to talk about the Kobbie Mainoo situation that's got every United fan's heart racing. Our 19-year-old midfield magician is being valued at £70 million, but here's the scary part, contract talks have hit a wall. Fabrizio Romano himself has been keeping us updated on this one, and while things have gone quiet recently, we all know how quickly these situations can explode. With just 2 years left on his deal and European giants circling like vultures, could we be about to lose the brightest star from our academy? From Osimhen's goal-scoring prowess to Rashford's dream Barcelona move, from potential swap deals that could reshape our entire squad to keeping hold of our homegrown wonder kid, this summer window is shaping up to be absolutely mental. So buckle up, United family, because we're about to dive deep into every single detail, every rumor, every twist and turn that could determine our future. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell because trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming next. This is United HQ Update, and the transfer madness starts right now. Manchester United's big summer move. Is Victor Osimhen the answer to our striker problem? The summer transfer window is heating up, and Manchester United fans have plenty to talk about. After a season where goals were hard to come by, everyone at Old Trafford knows one thing: we need a striker who can find the back of the net. But here's the big question. Is Victor Osimhen the man to solve our problems up front? The search for goals. Let's be honest. Last season was tough to watch at times. We all love Rasmus Højlund, but expecting a young player to carry the entire attacking load was always going to be a big ask. Marcus Rashford had his struggles, and while we created chances, we just couldn't put them away when it mattered most. That's why this summer feels so important. The club knows what we need, and they're working hard to get it done. But finding the right striker isn't easy, especially when you're competing with clubs like Chelsea and Arsenal who also have deep pockets. Victor Osimhen, the main target. So who is Victor Osimhen, and why does everyone want him? The Nigerian striker has been making headlines for all the right reasons. At 26 years old, he's entering his prime years as a footballer. This past season he was on loan at Galatasaray in Turkey, and what a season it was. Think about this for a moment. 36 goals in 40 games. That's almost a goal per game. He helped Galatasaray win both the league and the cup. Those are the kind of numbers that make club owners reach for their checkbooks. But here's where it gets interesting. Osimhen isn't sitting around waiting for offers. Napoli, who own his contract, are asking for a lot of money. They want Højlund plus £33.6 million on top. That's a massive deal, and it shows just how much they value their striker. There's also a release clause in his contract worth £63 million, but only for teams outside Italy. This means any club from England, Spain, Germany, or anywhere else can trigger this clause and start talks with the player directly. The competition is fierce. Manchester United aren't the only ones interested. Chelsea have been chasing Osimhen for a while now. In fact, John Obi Mikel, the former Chelsea midfielder, says Osimhen still wants to move to Stamford Bridge. That's not great news for United fans. Then there's the Saudi Arabian League making moves. Reports suggest Al Hilal have already agreed personal terms with Osimhen on a 3-year deal. The money being offered in Saudi Arabia is hard to ignore, even for top players. So United are fighting on multiple fronts. They need to convince Osimhen that Old Trafford is the right place for him, while also meeting Napoli's asking price. It's not going to be easy. The Italian connection. Here's something that might work in United's favor. The club already has a good relationship with Napoli after selling Scott McTominay to them for £21 million last year. That deal worked out well for everyone involved. McTominay has been doing great in Italy, and Napoli got a quality midfielder. This kind of positive history can make a difference when clubs are negotiating. It shows that United are serious and can be trusted to deliver on their promises. Matt Hargreaves, United's director of football negotiations, has already traveled to Italy for face-to-face talks. He met with Napoli's owner and sporting director last weekend. This shows the club is taking this seriously and putting in the work to get a deal done. What about the alternatives? United aren't putting all their eggs in one basket. They're also looking at other options, which is smart business. One name that keeps coming up is Liam Delap from Ipswich Town. Delap is only 22 years old and has a relegation release clause worth £30 million. That's a lot less than what Napoli want for Osimhen. But here's the problem. Delap apparently wants to join Chelsea too. Are we seeing a pattern here? The other big name on United's list is Victor Gyökeres. This one makes a lot of sense because Ruben Amorim managed him at Sporting CP. The manager knows exactly what he'd be getting, and Gyökeres scored plenty of goals in Portugal. But again, there's competition. Arsenal are also interested, and Sporting won around £67 million for their striker. That's still cheaper than Osimhen, but it's not exactly pocket change. The Højlund factor. Let's talk about what Napoli are asking for. They want Højlund plus money for Osimhen. This is where things get complicated for United fans. Many of us still believe in Højlund's potential. He's young, he's talented, and he's already shown glimpses of what he can do. But football is a business, and sometimes you have to make tough decisions. If getting Osimhen means letting Højlund go, would it be worth it? Osimhen has proven he can score goals at the highest level. Højlund is still proving himself. The question United's management needs to answer is simple. Do we believe Højlund can reach Osimhen's level, or do we need the proven goalscorer now? What this means for United's future? Getting a striker like Osimhen would send a strong message. It would show that United are serious about competing for trophies again. When you have a player who can score 36 goals in a season, suddenly everything else becomes easier. The midfield doesn't have to create as many chances because your striker can make something out of nothing. The defense feels more confident because they know the team can score goals. It's amazing how one good signing can lift an entire squad. But it's not just about this season. Osimhen is 26, which means he could give United 4 or 5 great years. That's a lot of goals and a lot of wins if everything goes according to plan. The money question. Let's be realistic about the finances. Whether it's £63 million for the release clause or Højlund plus £33.6 million, we're talking about a huge investment. United have already spent big money in recent years, and fans are right to ask if this is the best use of resources. But here's another way to look at it. How much did United lose by not qualifying for the Champions League last season? How much revenue comes from being in Europe's top competition? Sometimes you have to spend money to make money. The club's owners and management clearly think a top striker is worth the investment. They've sent their negotiator to Italy, they're having serious talks, and they're prepared to meet Napoli's demands. What fans are saying? The reaction from United fans has been mixed, which is understandable. Some are excited about the possibility of signing a proven goalscorer. Others worry about losing Højlund, whom many see as the future of the club's attack. There are also questions about whether Osimhen fits the style of play Amorim wants to implement. The manager likes his strikers to be involved in build-up play, not just finish chances. Can Osimhen adapt to this system? These are fair concerns, but they're also the kind of challenges that good managers solve. If Amorim thinks Osimhen can work in his system, then fans should trust that judgment. The reality: here's what United fans need to understand: getting any of these strikers won't be easy. Chelsea seem to be ahead in the race for both Osimhen and Delap. Arsenal are competing for Gyökeres. Saudi Arabia has unlimited money to spend. United need to move quickly and decisively if they want to land their top target. The longer they wait, the more likely it becomes that their targets will sign elsewhere. This is where the club's recent transfer strategy will be tested. They've talked about being smarter in the market and making better decisions. Now they need to prove it. What happens next? The next few weeks will be crucial. United need to decide which striker they want most and then go all out to get him. Half measures won't work in today's transfer market. If they can land Osimhen, it would be a statement signing that shows United mean business. If they end up with Delap or Gyökeres, they'd still be getting quality players who could make a difference. The worst outcome would be missing out on all their targets and starting the season with the same striking options they had last year. That can't happen if United want a challenge for trophies. The bottom line: Manchester United need a striker, and Victor Osimhen looks like he could be the answer. Yes, he'll cost a lot of money. Yes, there's competition from other clubs. Yes, they might have to sacrifice Højlund to get him. But sometimes in football, you have to take risks to move forward. United have been playing it safe for too long, and where has it gotten them? Maybe it's time to make a bold move and back it up with the kind of investment that shows they're serious about winning again. The summer transfer window is just getting started, but already the stakes feel high. United fans deserve a team that can score goals and compete for trophies. Whether that happens might depend on what the club does in the next few weeks. One thing is certain: this summer will tell us a lot about United's ambitions and their ability to turn those ambitions into reality. The question isn't whether they need a striker. The question is whether they'll do whatever it takes to get the right one. One thing is certain: this summer will tell us a lot about United's ambitions and their ability to turn those ambitions into reality. The question isn't whether they need a striker. The question is whether they'll do whatever it takes to get the right one. Could this be the transfer twist nobody saw coming? Man United eyes Barcelona stars in shocking Rashford swap deal. Manchester United fans, hold on to your seats. Just when you thought the Marcus Rashford saga couldn't get more interesting, a bombshell report has emerged that could change everything. The Red Devils are reportedly eyeing not one, but two Barcelona stars in a potential swap deal that could see Rashford finally get his dream move to Camp Nou. But here's the million-dollar question: is this the smart business United fans have been waiting for, or are we about to lose our homegrown talent for less than he's worth? The Rashford situation, where we stand right now. Let's start with what we know. Marcus Rashford is coming back to Old Trafford after his loan spell at Aston Villa. Villa had the chance to sign him permanently for £40 million, but they've decided to pass. His injury at the end of the season was the final straw, and Villa are facing their own money problems after missing out on Champions League football. Think about it: Villa were impressed with Rashford's performances, but they still walked away from the deal. That tells you something about their financial situation and maybe their concerns about his fitness. So here we are, with Rashford back at United and everyone wondering what happens next. The 27-year-old winger has made no secret of his desire to play for Barcelona. It's been his dream move, and now it looks like both clubs are seriously talking about making it happen. Barcelona comes calling. The dream move gets real. Remember when Barcelona first showed interest in Rashford back in January? That move fell through when he chose Villa instead. But dreams don't die easily, especially when you're talking about playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world. This week, things got very real very quickly. Rashford's agent and brother, Dwayne Maynard, was spotted meeting with Barcelona's sporting director Deco in the Spanish city. When agents start flying to Barcelona for face-to-face meetings, you know something serious is brewing. According to reports from Catalan sources, Barcelona haven't forgotten about Rashford. They want to strengthen their attack, and they see the English winger as the perfect addition to their squad. But here's where it gets interesting for United fans. The swap deal that could change everything. Barcelona has a problem. They want Rashford, but they're struggling to come up with the £40 million United are asking for. Financial troubles at Camp Nou are no secret, and paying big transfer fees isn't easy for them right now. But what if they didn't have to pay cash? What if they could offer something even better? This is where the swap deal comes in. United have reportedly told Barcelona they'd be open to a player exchange instead of cold hard cash. And the two names on the table are exactly the kind of players United need: Fermin Lopez and Ronald Araujo. Let's break down what this could mean for United fans. Ronald Araujo, the defender United have always wanted. Ronald Araujo isn't a new name to United fans. The Uruguayan centre-back has been linked with a move to Old Trafford for what feels like forever. And there's good reason for that interest. At 25 years old, Araujo is entering his prime years as a defender. He's strong, quick, good in the air, and has the kind of presence at the back that United have been missing. The fact that he's been a regular for both Barcelona and Uruguay shows he can perform at the highest level. But here's the kicker: Araujo might actually want to leave Barcelona. He's fallen down the pecking order under manager Hansi Flick, finding himself behind Pau Cubarsí and Inigo Martinez. For a player who should be starting every week, sitting on the bench isn't ideal. Just a few months ago, Araujo signed a new contract with Barcelona after they convinced him to turn down Juventus. But football moves fast, and his situation has changed. He's no longer guaranteed a starting spot, which makes him available for the right deal. Could United be that right deal? Getting a proven centre-back who's desperate for regular football sounds like exactly what the Red Devils need. Fermin Lopez, the rising star Barcelona might sacrifice. Fermin Lopez is a different story altogether. The 21-year-old Spanish midfielder is highly rated and had a strong end to last season. He represents the future at Barcelona, which makes his potential inclusion in this deal very interesting. Why would Barcelona even consider letting Lopez go? It comes down to squad depth and immediate needs. Barcelona have strong options in midfield, and they might feel they can afford to lose Lopez if it means getting Rashford's pace and directness in attack. For United, Lopez would represent exactly the kind of young, technical midfielder they've been trying to find. He's comfortable on the ball, has good vision, and at 21, his best years are ahead of him. Trading an experienced winger for a promising young midfielder could be smart long-term thinking. But is United's midfield really where the priority should be right now? That's the question fans will be asking. The money talk. Why this deal makes sense for both clubs. Let's be honest about the finances here. United want £40 million for Rashford. That's a fair price for a proven Premier League performer, but it's money Barcelona simply don't have right now. A swap deal solves problems for both clubs. United get players they actually need instead of cash they'll probably spend on expensive transfers anyway. Barcelona get their target without breaking their already stretched budget. Think about it from United's perspective. They could spend £40 million on a centre-back and end up with someone unproven in the Premier League. Or they could get Araujo, who they've been watching for years and know can do the job. The same logic applies to Lopez. Finding young midfield talent costs serious money these days. Getting a player Barcelona have developed and rate highly could be much smarter than gambling on an unknown quantity. The Rashford factor. What does the player want? Here's where it gets emotional for United fans. Rashford isn't just any player, he came through the academy, he's been at the club for years, and he's one of the few genuine local connections left in the squad. But let's be real about his situation. Rashford is apparently willing to take a massive pay cut to join Barcelona. He's currently earning £325,000 per week at United, and he'd accept much less to make his dream move happen. When a player is willing to sacrifice that much money to leave, what does that tell you about how he feels about staying? Reports suggest Rashford is completely focused on joining Barcelona. He sees them as his ideal next club after United, even after spending 6 months at Villa. That kind of determination usually means the move will happen one way or another. What this means for United's future? If this swap deal goes through, what would it mean for United's direction as a club? Getting Araujo would solve some real problems at the back. United have struggled for consistency in defense, and having a proven centre-back who's hungry to play could make a huge difference. He's the kind of defender who could partner well with existing players and bring some stability to the backline. Lopez, meanwhile, represents the kind of technical midfielder United have been trying to develop. Instead of hoping someone from the academy steps up or spending big on an unproven player, they get someone Barcelona think highly enough of to keep around their first team. But losing Rashford isn't simple. He's one of United's most dangerous attacking players when he's fit and confident. His pace and ability to beat defenders one-on-one are qualities not easy to replace. The Barcelona perspective: why they want this deal. For Barcelona, this isn't just about getting Rashford. It's about solving their financial problems while still improving their squad. They've identified Rashford as someone who can add pace and directness to their attack. La Liga defenders might struggle with his physical style and speed, especially if he's motivated by playing for his dream club. But Barcelona also need to be realistic about their squad. They can't keep every talented player, especially when they need to balance the books. If sacrificing Araujo or Lopez means getting Rashford without spending cash they don't have, it might be worth it. There's also the fact that Barcelona's midfield is already packed with talent. Losing Lopez might not hurt as much as keeping him on the bench while paying big wages to multiple players in the same position. The complications: why this might not happen. Not everything about this potential deal is straightforward. Barcelona sources suggest they're not planning to sacrifice Lopez or Araujo to make room for Rashford. That's a pretty clear statement that they value these players and might not be as willing to let them go as the reports suggest. There's also the question of what United really need right now. Do they need another midfielder when they have other areas that need attention? Is trading a proven goalscorer for defensive stability the right move? And then there's the simple fact that swap deals are notoriously difficult to complete. Getting two clubs to agree on player valuations, personal terms for multiple players, and all the other details is incredibly complex. Alternative scenarios: what else could happen? If the swap deal doesn't work out, there are other possibilities on the table. Barcelona might try to sign Rashford on loan with an option to buy next summer. That would give them time to sort out their finances while giving Rashford his dream move. There's also the chance that another club comes in with a better offer for United. £40 million for a player of Rashford's ability and experience isn't unreasonable in today's market. For United, they could also decide to keep Rashford and try to rebuild his motivation and form at Old Trafford. Sometimes a fresh start begins at home, especially with new management and coaching staff. What United fans should think about this deal? If you're a United fan reading this, you're probably torn. Rashford has been part of the furniture for so long that seeing him leave would be emotional. But if the alternative is getting two players who could genuinely improve the team, maybe it's time to think with your head instead of your heart. The key question is whether Araujo and Lopez would actually make United better than keeping Rashford. That depends on what you think United's biggest problems are right now. If you believe United's main issue is defensive stability and midfield creativity, then this swap makes perfect sense. If you think the problem is not having enough proven goal scorers, then losing Rashford might be a mistake. The timing factor: why now matters. Summer 2025 feels like the right time for moves like this. United are trying to build something new, Barcelona need to solve their financial problems, and Rashford wants a fresh challenge. Player careers are short, and at 27, Rashford is at an age where he needs to make decisions about his future. If he's convinced Barcelona is where he belongs, waiting another year might not make sense for anyone involved. For United, getting younger players who are hungry to prove themselves could be exactly what the club needs as they try to rebuild their identity and playing style. Looking ahead, what happens next? The next few weeks will be crucial for this potential deal. With Rashford's agent meeting Barcelona officials and both clubs apparently open to negotiations, things could move quickly. United fans should prepare for the possibility that this summer could see major changes to the squad. Losing Rashford would be significant, but gaining two quality players who fit the team's needs might be worth it. The football world will be watching closely to see if this swap deal becomes reality or just another rumor that never materializes. Final thoughts: a deal that could define the summer. Whether you love it or hate it, this potential Rashford swap deal has all the ingredients of a transfer that could define Manchester United's summer window. It's got drama, quality players, financial necessity, and the kind of complexity that makes transfer windows so compelling. For United fans, the question isn't really whether Rashford, Araujo, and Lopez are good players. They all are. The question is whether this specific trade makes United a better team both now and in the future. What do you think? Would you take Ronald Araujo and Fermin Lopez in exchange for Marcus Rashford? Is this the kind of smart dealing United need to be doing, or would losing Rashford be too big a risk? One thing's for sure, this summer's transfer window just got a lot more interesting. And for Manchester United fans, that might be exactly what they've been waiting for after years of disappointing deals and missed opportunities. The Rashford era at Old Trafford might be coming to an end, but if this swap deal happens, it could be the beginning of something even better. Time will tell if United's gamble pays off. Will Kobbie Mainoo stay or go? The inside story on Manchester United's rising star. Picture this: you're 19 years old, playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world, and every football fan is talking about your talent. Sounds like a dream, right? But what if that same position puts you at the center of transfer rumors and contract disputes? This is exactly where Kobbie Mainoo finds himself right now at Manchester United. The young midfielder has gone from academy hopeful to first-team regular in what feels like the blink of an eye. But now, with contract talks hitting a wall and transfer speculation heating up, United fans are asking the same question: will we keep our brightest young star? From academy dreams to first-team reality. Let's take a step back and look at how we got here. Kobbie Mainoo wasn't always the household name he is today. Like many United Academy products, he had to work his way through the ranks, proving himself at every level. His big break came in November 2023 when he made his first Premier League start against Everton. That moment changed everything. One game turned him from a promising youngster into a player that everyone was talking about. Since then, he's become one of the most exciting young talents not just in England, but across Europe. What makes Mainoo special? It's his ability to read the game, his composure on the ball, and his knack for being in the right place at the right time. These aren't skills you can easily teach. They're the kind of natural talents that separate good players from great ones. The contract situation: what's really going on? Here's where things get interesting and a bit worrying for United fans. Mainoo currently has 2 years left on his contract with the club. In football terms, that's not a lot of time. When a player gets down to their final year, they hold all the power in negotiations. Reports from earlier this year suggested that Mainoo might be thinking about rejecting a new contract offer from United. The Guardian reported in March that the young midfielder was considering his options and might even be open to a move abroad. But why would a young English player want to leave Manchester United? It's a question that many fans are asking, and the answer isn't simple. For starters, money talks in modern football. While United can offer good wages, they're not always the highest bidder. Other clubs, especially in leagues like Spain and Italy, sometimes offer packages that are hard to refuse. Then there's the question of playing time and development. Even though Mainoo has broken into the first team, there's no guarantee he'll always be a starter. Young players want to play regularly, and if they don't see that happening at their current club, they start looking elsewhere. The £70 million question. Manchester United reportedly value Mainoo at around £70 million. That's a huge amount of money for any club to spend on one player, especially a 19-year-old who's only been in the first team for just over a year. But is he worth that much? Looking at today's transfer market, that price tag might not be as crazy as it sounds. Young, talented players are worth their weight in gold, and clubs are willing to pay top dollar for them. The problem for United is that not many clubs can afford to pay £70 million for one player. Usually, only Premier League clubs or the biggest teams in Europe like Real Madrid can spend that kind of money. This creates an interesting situation. If Mainoo really wants to leave, United might struggle to find buyers willing to pay their asking price. They might have to lower their demands or risk losing him for much less money when his contract runs down. What does the manager think? Ruben Amorim, United's current boss, has made his feelings about Mainu very clear. He wants to keep him at the club. In fact, he's gone on record saying that he loves his players and wants to keep the talented ones. Speaking about both Mainu and teammate Alejandro Garnacho, Amorim said he's really happy with both players and sees them as important parts of United's future. He's also talked about how important the academy is to the club and how they want to keep the best players they develop. But wanting to keep a player and actually keeping them are two different things. Amorim knows that United are in a difficult financial position right now, and that might affect their ability to offer the kind of contracts that keep top players happy. The money problem, PSR, and financial fair play. Here's something that many fans don't fully understand but is crucial to this whole situation. Manchester United are dealing with something called PSR, which stands for Profit and Sustainability Rules. These rules limit how much money clubs can spend and how much they can lose over a certain period. If a club breaks these rules, they can face serious penalties, including points deductions. United's financial situation isn't great right now. They've spent a lot of money in recent years and haven't always made the best decisions. This means they might be forced to sell players to balance their books, even if they don't want to. This is where Mainu's situation becomes really important. If United need to raise money quickly, selling a player for £70 million would solve a lot of their problems. It's not what fans want to hear, but it's the reality of modern football. The transfer market reality. Let's talk about what might actually happen in the transfer market. Fabrizio Romano, one of the most reliable transfer reporters, has said that things have gone quiet around Mainu's future. There are no concrete talks happening right now, and everyone is waiting to see if any bids come in during the summer. This could mean a few different things. Maybe Mainu and United are closer to agreeing on a new contract than the media reports suggest. Maybe other clubs are waiting to see how the situation develops before making their move. Or maybe everyone is just taking a break from negotiations. What we do know is that if Mainu doesn't sign a new contract soon, United will be under pressure to sell him. No club wants to lose a valuable player for free, which is what would happen if his contract runs down. Why this matters for United fans? If you're a United fan, this situation probably feels familiar. Over the years, the club has lost several promising young players who went on to have successful careers elsewhere. From Paul Pogba's first departure to more recent examples, it's a story that keeps repeating itself. Losing Mainu would be particularly painful because he represents everything that United fans love about their club. He's a local lad who came through the academy, works hard, and has the talent to become a world-class player. But it's not just about sentiment. Mainu is genuinely a very good player who could be a key part of United's future. Losing him would be a footballing loss as well as an emotional one. What about other clubs? If Mainu does leave United, where might he go? The most obvious destinations would be other Premier League clubs who can afford the transfer fee and offer him regular playing time. Chelsea, Manchester City, and Arsenal all have the money to sign him, though it's hard to imagine United selling to a direct rival. Liverpool might also be interested, especially if they're looking to refresh their midfield. Abroad, Real Madrid is always mentioned when top young talents are available. They have a history of signing the best young players and developing them into superstars. For a young English player, the chance to play for Real Madrid might be too good to turn down. Italian clubs like Juventus and AC Milan have also been linked with English players in recent years. The chance to experience a different style of football and culture appeals to some players. The academy connection. One thing that makes the situation even more significant is what it says about United's academy. The club has always prided itself on developing young players and giving them a path to the first team. If Mainu leaves, it sends a message to other young players in the academy. It suggests that even if you make it to the first team and become a regular, the club might still be willing to sell you for the right price. This could affect United's ability to attract the best young talents in the future. Why would a promising 16-year-old choose United over another club if they think they might be sold just as they're breaking through? The fan perspective. United fans are understandably worried about losing Mainu. After years of disappointing signings and failed transfers, seeing a homegrown talent potentially leave is particularly frustrating. Many fans feel that the club's owners don't understand what makes United special. They see the potential sale of Mainu as another example of putting money before footballing success. But fans also understand the financial realities. If selling Mainu allows United to buy 2 or 3 other players who improve the team overall, some might see it as a necessary sacrifice. The key is whether United would actually use the money wisely. Their track record in the transfer market hasn't been great in recent years, which makes fans nervous about any big sales. What happens next? So where does this leave us? The truth is that nobody really knows what will happen with Mainu's future. Transfer situations can change quickly, and what looks certain one day can be completely different the next. The summer transfer window will be crucial. If United receive a big offer for Mainu, they'll have to decide whether to accept it or risk losing him for less money later. If no offers come in, they might have more time to convince him to sign a new contract. Mainu himself will also have to make some big decisions. Does he want to stay at the club where he grew up and try to help them return to the top? Or does he think his career would be better served by moving somewhere else? The bigger picture. This situation isn't just about one player or one contract. It's about what kind of club Manchester United wants to be in the future. Do they want to be a club that develops young players and keeps them for their entire careers? Or are they happy to be a stepping stone for talented youngsters who move on to bigger and better things? The decision they make about Mainu will say a lot about their priorities and their vision for the future. Looking forward. Whatever happens with Kobbie Mainu, one thing is clear: he's a special talent who has a bright future ahead of him. Whether that future is at Manchester United or somewhere else remains to be seen. For United, the challenge is to create an environment where their best young players want to stay and develop. That means not just offering good contracts, but also showing ambition on the pitch and building a team that can compete for the biggest trophies. For Mainu, the challenge is to make the right decision for his career while staying true to his roots and the club that gave him his chance. The coming months will be crucial for both player and club. The decisions made now could shape Manchester United's future for years to come. Will they keep their brightest young star, or will they watch him shine somewhere else? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: this story is far from over, and United fans will be watching every development with keen interest. After all, in football as in life, it's often the young stars who light the way forward.